Okay, greetings from across the pond here in the United States of America. Jayson Love here for the United Devils, talking about what was a resounding 3-0 victory for Manchester United over Sheffield United, a very important victory in the race for the top four here in the Premier League this season as United eye Champions League. Sheffield United came in right on the tail of Manchester United, sitting on 44 points, with United sitting on 46 points. So it was a match that was a true six-pointer when you're talking about the race for the top four. United's win brings them to within 2 points of Chelsea, although United have played one more match. But what could be beneficial is that Chelsea travel to Manchester City later this week, so we'll be looking for some help from the Powder Puff team up there, Manchester City, trying to catch some help as we try to catch the top four, which we now sit 2 points off Chelsea and 6 points off Leicester. So coming into the match, we always knew that Manchester United was going to be at a huge advantage here, with John Egan having picked up a red card in Sheffield's shock loss to Newcastle last week on the weekend. They, with the red card, so Egan, the center back who anchors Sheffield's back line, one of the best defenses in the Premier League, Egan was never going to be able to play because of the red card. And of course, Dean Henderson, who has truly emerged as the England #1 keeper and really one of the top young keepers in the world, as well as the English Premier League, he, being on loan from Manchester United and cup tied to Sheffield United, was never going to be allowed to play in the game because of the rules regarding loans. So huge advantage to United, and it absolutely showed on the day. As for the lineup, it was really good to see Paul Pogba in the lineup for United. He anchored that middle of the pitch with Nemanja Matic. They created a great pairing, really linking up between the back and the front line. United came out in really what was like a 4-5-1, or really a 4-2-3-1, with Pogba and Matic for the most part sitting behind the front four. But of course, being able to venture forward as United really controlled the action in the match. Rashford started on the left wing. Greenwood started, which was kind of a surprise for me. Bruno Fernandes really provided the anchor in the middle. And Anthony Martial, who we'll get to in a second, provided a man-of-the-match performance, turning in 3 goals, the natural hat-trick, all goals from the run of play, nothing from the spot, all really tidy finishes. The third one possibly the greatest of the 3, but all really good finishes. And the first hat-trick that a United player has turned in since Robin van Persie way back in 2013 under Sir Alex Ferguson. So it's been a long time coming, and this was a truly great performance from the Frenchman. So with that said, United really completely controlled action. Really hard to find any problem with anything that went on in this match today. United came in with a goal differential of plus 14. They end it with a plus differential of plus 17. Sheffield United came into the match having allowed just 28 goals in 30 matches. One of the best, as I mentioned before, one of the best defensive teams in the league. And of course, largely that has to do with having Dean Henderson between the pipes, and of course being unavailable today, and it showed as United fired 3 past Sheffield's keeper on the day, really turning in a performance that was, again, as a United supporter, you can't have any problems with how they performed today. Simon Moore, the 30-year-old, he got the start and goal for for Sheffield. He really had not much he could do about any of the three goals. Hard to fault him for any of the three, but you could certainly imagine Dean Henderson able to start this match, maybe coming up with a big save. Although, honestly, who knows if it would have even mattered, whether it was 1-0, 2-0 with Henderson in there. The bigger loss, I think, was Egan not being available to anchor that back line. So getting right into it, diving into the statistics, you truly get to see how much United absolutely dominated play. They controlled possession, possessing the ball close to 68% of the match. Of course, that leaves only 32% of possession for Sheffield, so Man United really doubled them up on possession, and it wasn't just possession for possession's sake. It was attacking possession. They took 14 attempts on goal. Sheffield managed just 4. Only one of those attempts on target. A fairly easy save for David De Gea. Meanwhile, United were in the match, all match, creating opportunities. Really might have scored 4 or 5. There was a moment in the match where Paul Pogba danced his way through the defense, and Martial, perhaps looking for his hat trick before he scored his hat trick, took it off his foot, to a bit of a dismay for Paul Pogba. But it was smiles all around in the end as United got all 3 points. A massive, massive win on the day. A couple other things to note here. For Sheffield, since the break, they've now lost twice. They've lost twice by a 3-0 scoreline, once at home to Newcastle, and now, of course, on the road to Manchester United. All teams named United here, beating Sheffield here by a score of 3-0 twice in a row. So they've not scored since the break. They had the advantage virtually all match. It was really United, or Manchester United, really pushing the pace, really playing, almost felt like playing to the crowd, even though there was no crowd there. And it truly was a complete performance by Manchester United. And again, I'd like to come up with something to complain about, but there really wasn't anything. All players really played well. Let's dive into the lineup here. And just to get a sense of how everything looked, the back line really had not much to do. It was Wan-Bissaka, who had a couple of nice promising runs. Lindelof paired up with Maguire. They were solid throughout the afternoon. Shaw had one slight mistouch that caused a corner kick where perhaps one wasn't really necessary. But all in all, the back line was fine. One attempt that actually hit the target out of 4, you really can't complain. As I mentioned earlier, I'll mention it again, Paul Pogba really does create a lot of chances when he's in the match. He and Bruno Fernandes really could anchor the midfield for years to come, should they develop a partnership, which I'm just so hopeful about. Nemanja Matic, the old veteran, he played a real nice game. Real good possession, really good distribution. Sprung Rashford a couple of times, sprung Greenwood at least once, and that's another man I want to mention is Mason Greenwood. Got kind of a shock start to me. I didn't really believe he was going to be in the 11, but he was included, and I liked it. He was very goal-minded. Couple of attempts from range, nothing on target. He nearly won the game last week against Tottenham, missed by just barely a foot maybe. And this week, couldn't quite hit the target, but I like the confidence. I like how he's playing. So all in all, really good performance. Huge 3 points. True 6-pointer. We're looking forward to United continuing this run. They've now gone 13 matches, unbeaten in all competitions, equaling a mark set in 2017 as they continue to play pretty well and continue the momentum that they had built going into the break. They sit on 49 points, just 2 behind Chelsea. We're hoping for a Man City win against Chelsea so that we can take aim at 4th at the weekend. Thanks, everyone, and go Man United. Glory, glory, Man United.